Bring Karl Rove into the mix here, the former Bush 43 Deputy Chief of Staff, multiple best-selling author. And Karl, one of the things I notice is that our more successful presidents, by and large, and you might correct me if I'm wrong, Dan certainly will, that they've been blessed by having a staff loyal to them because they really liked the president. They feel that he had their back. John Kennedy was famous, that Ronald Reagan, your old boss, and still great loyalty among the staff. And I'm wondering if this risks that for Donald Trump, and that if again and again you're getting knocked around in the press and the president's the one knocking you around, whether you would want to continue, let alone serving him loyally.
Yeah, look, presidents who are successful tend to draw to them people whom they, the right word you used, instill. Everybody who walks into the White House is not necessarily well known to the president, but does the president have the leadership skills to create a team of people who are willing to walk in and say to him, Mr. President, here's my candid view and I disagree with you. And this president is, by his actions, making it very difficult to attract good people and to keep good people. And not only that, but as my Wall Street Journal colleagues have pointed out, he has created problems for himself in these wild tweets. But they left out one of the biggest problems that he's created for himself. He started this at 3:25 a.m., and Dan is absolutely right. He used those words travel ban, which his lawyers have been attempting to not use at all in the court. He then comes back and says, I want the Justice Department to be defending the original travel ban, not this watered-down one. Well, he's attacking himself. He's the president. He is the one who had to withdraw the first travel ban and institute the second executive order on immigration. He did this, not the Justice Department. It's his signature on both the document withdrawing the January 27th executive order, and his signature is on the March 7th executive order. Then he says, we need expedited, and we need to go back and have them ask the Supreme Court to hear the original order. Well, look, he's not a lawyer, and he would have to re-sign the January 27th one for it to have the force of an executive order. But here's the big one. His final tweet at 3:44 a.m. says, we're already extreme vetting. We're already extreme vetting. Well, wasn't the whole purpose of this thing to create a period in the second executive order, 30 days for the Secretary of Homeland Security to develop new extreme vetting procedures, 50 days to consult with countries that were going to be affected and tell them what information we were going to need? That order was signed March 7th. So 30 days meant the standards would have been done in early April, and we would be approaching the day where the affected countries would have to be reporting back. No one has said the president doesn't have the authority to impose extreme vetting. Why haven't the administration been out there working on setting those standards?
Let me ask you something there, because to that journal, it ended with a rather profound point to say, mark it all down as further evidence that the most effective opponent of the Trump presidency is Donald J. Trump. Where are his people? Where are the Karl Roves, the role that you played to President Bush, I'm sure on many an occasion, although you're a good friend, you'd never reveal it here, although I'll try when you're tired, to just say, Mr. President, this is a bad move. This is not a good idea. Where are those people? Or they all look like they got deer in the headlights to me. They were always afraid to take on, the boss. And I understand that, and it can be very intimidating even in the White House, let alone being with the president of the White House. But where is that person or those individuals who are going to play that role, whether it was Bobby Kennedy in his brother's administration, or even later on Howard Baker with Ronald Reagan, or you with President Bush? I mean, where are those people? Because if they're there, and they have a funny way of counseling it.
Well, look, I think there are a lot of good people in the White House. But the president sets the tone. And the tone right from the beginning has been with this president, it's not my fault, it's your fault. I've never seen so many stories over such a sustained period of time in which the president is telling people, being quoted by sources who've talked to him, that he's upset with this member of this White House staff or that member of the White House staff, particularly in moments of crisis. In a moment of crisis, when the shells are coming fast and furious, is when you want the battlefield commander to say, we're all in this together and we're going to prevail. It's not the moment that you want him saying, well, you know what, Second Lieutenant Jones or Sergeant Cavuto or Private Henninger, they're doing a lousy job. That's not the moment that you need to have that happen. And this president, despite having run a business, doesn't seem to understand that the moment of intense pressure is when he needs to rally his troops, not undermine them.